So we can say that growth rate is directly proportional to the profit per unit capital stock. So according the capitalist ideology proves that they can bring the growth rate, they can increase the growth rate. So, as the capitalist bloc gained ascendancy, the political parties the world over, even more, many of the communist parties were eager to owe their allegiance to the new power that be. The capitalist bloc forged alliances with these parties and showed down their throat a package of economic reforms which sought to convert all the economies into a homogeneous market economy with government's regulation. This process is referred to as globalization as it implies removal of restriction on global flow of trade and capital. So, what were the criticism of capitalism? Uneven distribution of wealth, poor people living slum and bad condition, working conditions were miserable. You can see that this is the income inequality. Here it is the rich who earns this much of fishes and those who do not have that much of amount. According to the UNDP Human Report 2000, the gap between the incomes of the richest countries and the poorest countries was about 3 to 1 in 1920, and then it increased to 30 to 1 in 1950, and this process goes to 75 to 1 in 1992. This was due to the ideology of capitalism. So poor rich poor gap widens in India, overall poverty down, but inequality measures up in rural and in India what happens actually the overall poverty was going down, but the inequality uh, in rural and urban areas became wider. The rich people were the major shareholders of the uh, profit of the country, and but whereas we can see that the poor peoples were not that much became rich according to the time. So according to the Planning Commission of India, the gap between the rich and poor also widened. So the truth is that after several decades of neoliberalism is the extreme form of capitalism. You can say that they also do not want to any interference of government in the market. So the rich are becoming increasingly richer while the poor are becoming numerous and increasingly poor. So you can read this book and you get the idea. So the greatest good for the greatest number. Utilitarianism. So government should enact reforms that promote more happiness. John Stuart Mill said that government should enact reforms that promote more happinesses, advance the greatest good for the greatest number, that is the labor. Now comes the socialism. That in this the state owns and operates most of the nation's major sectors such as banking, airlines, railroads, telephone, electricity, and other productions and designs of the means of distribution. Planning plays an important role, and the state plans for a given period of time what to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce, what price to supply resources and commodities to the producers and consumers. The basic objective of socialism is to ensure social justice and more equitable distribution of wealth. There is then Karl Marx. You can say that is the communism is the extreme form of socialism. So he asked all the workers of the world to revolt and take control of the government and then create socialist economy. So working men of all countries unite. So this was the book which was written by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, which wrote the Communist Manifesto in these 5 countries, that was in Russia, North Korea, China, Cuba, and Vietnam. So we end our lecture summary over here.